are currently discussing multi-agent system. Okay, so where I'm just installing the necessary packages and importing all the modules and built-in classes, and also I'm just defining my Google API keys, and I'm just assigning into the respective variables to configure my environment. So after this, I'm just defining like weather tool. Okay, this is simple function, okay, which is going to give you static result based on the definition. This is what the tool where I just defined on my own requirement. I just generated it to get weather for specific locations exactly as the same what I have just mentioned it over here. So next, the actual phase is like here is the agent. What am I defining over here? So it is a weather agent definition where I'm just going to call out the model called model Gemini 2 Flash. So it is a constant, which means that we have already defined no model 2.0 Flash, right? So similar to it, we are going to invoke this Gemini model. So it's basically a weather agent. So this Gemini model is very fast and cheap, and we are also going to build reasoning agent from GPT, and we are also going to build summary agent from Claude. So basically we are going to start working with the Gemini model here over here. So each agent in ADK can use different model. So this model is using this agent is actually using this model. Okay. So weather agent, and the agent description is actually a user friendly message. User-friendly descriptions of what this agent does. So this agent is responsible for debugging or no, or agent team routing or documentation UI display. So we have provide weather information for the specific cities. That is what this description wants to work on with. And the instruction, it's nothing but the system prompt that is going to control the behavior of the agent. So it is going to tell the prompt regarding the role or when to call the tool or how to use it and what to do, like how EDK makes the agent tool aware. So without these instructions, the model might try to answer the weather questions on its own instead of using the tool. So this ensures the deterministic and reliable behavior because we have already defined a tool called what? Get weather. So we have already defined. So where we have specified to return with a static output. Okay, static output for 3 different locations. So based on it, my model is going to respond. So the next step is that the most important step. So finally, I'm just printing the weather information just for the confirmation whether the agent is created successfully or not. So that is the confirmation message. I'm just printing it over here. So next is the most important. It's the most important session. It is a session service and the runner to set up, which means that this code is going to set up the memory of your agent and the engine that will run the agent. It requires the engine to run the agent. So in the create session service, in order to create session service, you are creating an object for memory session service. So this creates an RAM session manager. The random access memory. So where this is going to store conversation history, tool result, and agent state, and memory variables. So which is required for multi-turn conversation or session continuity. Or the tool that depend on the earlier context also. So it is going to provide persistent agent memory. This is in-memory session service. And also I'm just defining a variables called app name, user ID, and session ID, where it is going to consist of the relevant identification for the application and the user and the session. So which is going to store in this manner, okay, like no app name, user ID, and then session ID. The ADK stores the memory in the 3-part key. So which means which allows the multiple user to use it or multiple sessions per user or independent memory spaces. So that is what it is replicating. And next is the create the session. So here is the one of the important aspect. It creates the memory session. So this is where the ADK stores, which means what? The ADK actually stores the conversation history and the tools, arguments and results and previous tasks and the state variables. state variables what we defined it over here. So all these things it's going to store in this particular socials. And I'm finally printing the message for confirmation whether the memory session is active or not. And part two, it's going to be the runner. So the agent engine. So runner is nothing but the agent engine, which is responsible for executing your agent. So it is going to handle like picking the correct LLM model and passing the messages to the agent, and it is going to maintain the session memory, and it is going to call the tools like get weather and returning the result to the user, and it is also going to handle like no errors. So you cannot just call an agent directly. Okay. The user cannot able to call an agent directly. So instead he needs that a engine to, which means it can able to handle the memory handler, routing logic, tool orchestration, an asynchronic event loop, and all this is provided by the runner. So finally, I'm just printing the message for confirmation. Finally, I'm just printing the message for confirmation. So a memory system. So the agent remembers the things, a specific conversation session, and a runner is the engine that makes the agent actually works. So I'm going to execute it right now. Oh my God, I have to. Okay, it's been successfully executed. See.